A woman demanded a free birthday cake, even though our policy didn't offer one, screaming, "Every other bakery does it." When I refused, she grabbed a cake and slammed it onto the counter, smearing frosting everywhere. Just then, the owner walked out, smiled, and said, "Congratulations, you just bought every cake you just destroyed." Her face turned white as we rang up a $500 bill. I work in a bakery. Not one of those fancy boutique cupcake shops where everything costs $15 and the frosting looks like it was piped by angels. Ours is more of an old-school neighborhood place. We do birthdays, weddings, pastries, cookies, and the kind of pies your grandma would approve of. It's family-owned. Been around for decades. The regulars know us by name. My boss, Louis, took over from his father and never sold out to franchises. We're not flashy. But people come here for the taste, not the photos. Anyway, this happened a few months ago. And I'm still not over it. It was a Saturday. We open at 7 a.m., and by 10, we're already packed. Saturdays are chaos, wedding pickups, birthday rushes, and every tourist in town wanting beignet because they saw it on TikTok. I was behind the front counter that day, working solo while the others prepped in back. I don't mind fast-paced days. Keeps me focused. At around 10:30 a.m., the front door swings open and in walks her. I didn't know her name yet, so let's just call her Brenda. Right away, I could tell she was going to be a problem. Sunglasses inside. Talking loudly on her phone. Designer bag swinging off her shoulder like she was walking a runway instead of stepping into a bakery. She didn't say hi. Didn't smile. Just looked around like she was confused or offended by the very existence of the place. After about 15 seconds of ignoring me, she hangs up and stomps to the counter. "Where are your birthday cakes?" she asks. I keep my voice friendly. "They're right over there in the fridge. We've got chocolate fudge, lemon raspberry, strawberry shortcake." "No," she says, cutting me off. "I mean the free birthday cakes." I blinked. "Sorry? Free cakes?" "Yeah, the birthday cakes. The ones you give out for free on birthdays." I looked at her, then back at the fridge. Thought maybe I misunderstood. "We don't give out free birthday cakes," I said slowly. Brenda crossed her arms. "Why not?" "Well, because we're a bakery," I said, trying to keep it light. "Everything we make is fresh and made by hand. We sell them." She rolled her eyes so hard I could practically hear them. "Every other bakery gives a free cake for birthdays," she snapped. "It's a thing." I shook my head. "Not here, sorry. We don't have a policy like that." She raised her voice. "That's ridiculous. It's my daughter's birthday today. She's turning 7. "I get that," I said. "Happy birthday to her. But unfortunately, I can't give you a cake for free." At this point, a couple customers in line behind her started to take notice. I could feel the shift in energy. You know when you sense a storm is coming and everyone just gets still? Brenda leaned over the counter, way too close. "So what, you're going to ruin a child's birthday over a stupid cake?" I took a step back. "I'm not trying to ruin anything. If you'd like to buy a cake, we can write her name on it, even do a little design if you want. It'll be ready in minutes." Brenda slapped her hand down on the counter. "I'm not paying for something that should be free." I paused. "Ma'am, with all due respect, we don't give away cakes. Never have." She went quiet for about 2 seconds. Then she exploded. "Oh my God. This is unbelievable. Do you even understand how birthdays work? She's 7. Do you even care about children?" A lady waiting behind her quietly turned and walked out. Brenda's shouting filled the whole front room. Before I could say anything else, she stormed over to the fridge, yanked open the door, and grabbed a cake. It was a strawberry shortcake, one of the ones I'd just stocked that morning. Perfect layers, whipped cream, real fruit. She didn't even close the door. She walked straight back to the counter and slammed the cake down. Hard. It hit the counter with a wet, squishy splat. The top shifted. Strawberries flew to the side. Whipped cream smeared all over the glass. She glared at me like she just proved a point. "There," she said. "Now it's ruined. Now you have to give it to me." The room went completely silent. I stood there, frozen, trying to process what just happened. This woman had just committed full-on food assault on a $45 cake. And she wasn't even sorry. She looked proud of it. I started to respond, but before I could get a word out, the back kitchen door swung open. Out walked Louis, the owner. Now, Louis isn't some soft-spoken pushover. He's 72, a former Marine, built like a brick wall, and walks with a cane that I'm 90% sure he's used as a weapon before. Most people know not to mess with him. He took one look at the cake, then at Brenda, then at me. "What's going on out here?" he asked, calm but firm. Brenda turned to him, instantly changing her tone. "Your employee is refusing to give me a birthday cake for my daughter. She's 7. All I asked was for one little cake, and he's being rude and disrespectful." Louis raised an eyebrow. You smashed one of my cakes, he said. Not a question. A fact. Brenda didn't deny it. Well, now it's damaged, she said. You can't sell it anymore, can you? So why not just let me take it for free? She actually smiled like she thought she'd won. That was her big play. Louis walked closer, leaned on his cane, and looked her dead in the eyes. You damaged my product. That means you bought it. Brenda blinked. Excuse me? You touched it. You destroyed it. That means you own it now. She laughed. No, that's not how that works. Louis didn't laugh. He turned to me. Ring her up. That one, he pointed to the smashed cake, and the one under it she got frosting on. That's 2 strawberry shortcakes. He turned back to the fridge. And this one too, he added, reaching in and pulling out a chocolate mousse. Her bag hit it when she opened the door. See the smudge? Brenda's mouth dropped open. You're charging me? Louis didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten her. He just nodded. Yes, for everything you damaged. I scanned each item. She kept saying no, no, no under her breath like she was trying to wish herself out of the moment. Chocolate mousse, $55, I said. 2 strawberry shortcakes, $45 each. And we'll have to toss the lemon tart next to it. That's another $48. Brenda turned white. You can't be serious. Louis just said, I am. She was quiet now. Still. Like a deer in headlights. She stood there frozen. You could see her brain doing backflips trying to find a way out. People in line were still watching. A couple had their phones out. One woman whispered to her husband, is this real? Brenda finally snapped out of it. She threw up her hands like she was the victim here. This is harassment, she shouted. You can't make me pay for something I didn't even buy. Louis didn't flinch. You touched it. You smashed it. You're paying. I'll call the police, she yelled, voice cracking. Please do, Louis said, as calm as ever. They'll love to hear about how you vandalized a small business. She went quiet again. Her face turned red. Her lips trembled. She looked behind her, maybe hoping someone would jump in and take her side. But nobody moved. They just stared. I have money, she snapped. That's not the point. The point is, this is unfair. What kind of bakery ruins a child's birthday? Louis leaned on the counter. The kind that doesn't put up with tantrums. Especially not from grown adults. That one hit her. Her jaw clenched. She grabbed her purse and yanked it open, digging through her wallet like she was preparing for battle. Out came a shiny platinum card. She slapped it down like it was supposed to scare us. Fine, she snapped. Charge it. I took it. I didn't say a word. I just ran the total. For $197.72 while it processed, she kept muttering. This is abuse. I'm calling corporate. You're all going to regret this. Which made it even more awkward when I handed her the receipt and said, we're locally owned. There is no corporate. She snatched the receipt out of my hand like it was a snake. Then came the twist none of us saw coming. From the corner of the store, this little voice piped up. Mommy? We all turned. There, peeking through the door, was a little girl. Maybe 6 or 7. Wearing a sparkly tiara with a balloon tied around her wrist. She looked scared. Everyone got quiet again. Brenda turned around fast, her voice suddenly sweet. Hi, baby. Mommy's getting your cake, okay? Just a second. The girl stepped inside. The balloon bounced above her as she walked in slowly, looking around at the destroyed cake on the counter. She tugged on Brenda's sleeve. Can we go now? I just wanted cupcakes. Brenda's face went stiff. No, sweetie, remember? We wanted the big cake. No, the girl said quietly. You wanted it. I just wanted cupcakes. Like we had at Grandma's. Oof. You could feel the silence get deeper. Brenda ignored her. Let's go. We're leaving. The girl didn't move. Mommy, why are you mad? Brenda clenched her jaw. I'm not mad. Yes, you are. That little voice cut through everything. The line of customers, the mess on the counter, Louis's stone-cold face, none of it mattered for a second. Everyone was just looking at the little girl. You could see the embarrassment on Brenda's face like a rash. Her ears went red. I said let's go, she snapped. She tried to grab the girl's hand, but the kid pulled back. She looked around, her eyes landing on the cupcake case. She walked toward it, away from her mom. I want this one, she said, pointing at a pink cupcake with glittery sprinkles. I looked at Brenda. She looked like she wanted to scream. But then her face changed again. Like she realized she couldn't throw another fit. Not with her kids standing there. Not with all those eyes watching. She gritted her teeth and turned back to me. Add it, she said through clenched teeth. I grabbed the cupcake. That'll be another $4.50. She rolled her eyes like I'd just charged her for a private jet. But she pulled out the card again and slapped it down. I ran it fast. No one said a word. When I handed over the cupcake, I crouched a little and said, "Happy birthday, sweetheart." The girl smiled. "Thanks." And then, just when I thought it was over, it got worse. A customer in line stepped forward. He looked maybe mid-50s. Clean suit. Polite but serious. "Ma'am," he said to Brenda, "I'd like to pay for your daughter's cupcake." Brenda looked stunned. He didn't smile. He didn't say it like he was doing her a favor. He looked at the little girl and then added, "Not for you. For her." You could hear the meaning behind it. Brenda's eyes narrowed. "No, we're fine. She doesn't need your charity." But the girl looked at him and said, "Thank you." She held the cupcake in both hands like it was gold. Brenda yanked her hand again and stormed toward the door, dragging the girl behind her. Just before she got outside, she turned and said, "You people are disgusting. All of you. I hope this place burns down." She slammed the door so hard it rattled the window. The balloon caught in the door for a second, then bounced outside behind her. No one spoke. Louis finally broke the silence. "Clean up on counter 3, he said. People laughed. Not loud, but real. But I wasn't laughing. Because I saw something no one else noticed. The little girl had dropped something. A small folded piece of paper. I picked it up after they left. It was a hand-drawn card. Crayon scribbles. It said, "Happy birthday, Mommy," with a drawing of the two of them holding hands. I held it in my palm for a long time. No one saw it but me. I didn't know what to do. And I still don't. I slipped the crayon card into my apron pocket. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't want to see it get thrown out with the cake remains. Maybe I just couldn't stop thinking about that kid, standing in the middle of all that noise, quietly asking for a cupcake while her mom declared war over a free cake no one owed her. Anyway, I thought that would be the end of it. That she'd disappear and we'd never see her again. I was wrong. 3 days later, we got a call. I was the one who answered. "Sweet Treats Bakery, how can I help you?" A woman's voice came through, smooth and fake cheerful like someone trying to play nice for a recording. "Hi, I'm with the City Office of Consumer Affairs," she said. "We've received a formal complaint against your business regarding an incident on Saturday." I almost dropped the phone. She'd actually filed a complaint. I stayed calm. "Can you tell me what the complaint is about?" It states that a customer was denied a promised promotional offer, a free birthday cake for their child, and was then charged for items they did not consent to purchase. I let out a short breath. "There was no such promotion," I said. "We've never had a free cake offer." "She damaged multiple items and was charged for what she ruined." "I understand," the woman said, typing something. "Do you have any documentation of this event?" "Yes," I said quickly. "We have security footage. Audio and video. It shows everything from the moment she entered to when she left." There was a pause. "Oh, I see. Would it be possible to provide that?" Louis was already walking over, having overheard. I covered the mouthpiece and explained fast. He nodded. "Get her email," he said. "We'll send the footage." I did. The call ended polite, but cold. I could feel it hanging in the air, that crawling unease that comes after a storm, when you know there's more coming. 2 days later, she escalated. She posted a 1-star Google review that went viral. Not just, "I'm upset," viral, like, full-on fiction. The employee screamed at my daughter on her birthday. My child left crying. The owner threatened to hit me with a cane. They accused me of stealing for no reason and tried to force me to buy cakes I never touched. I will be contacting a lawyer. Do not go here unless you want to be abused. Within hours, we were getting calls. DMs. A few local influencers reposted it. A food blog screenshot it. Louis was furious. But not loud furious. Quiet furious. He walked in, shut his office door, and 45 minutes later came back out with a printed statement and a USB drive in his hand. The statement went up on our website and social media. It included still images from the security footage, Brenda slamming the cake, frosting on her hands, her opening the fridge, smudging the mousse, yelling at me across the counter. It ended with, "We support parents. We love birthdays. But we do not tolerate abuse, destruction of property, or dishonest attacks on our staff. We have shared all evidence with the appropriate parties. Thank you to our loyal customers who know the truth. We're still baking and still standing." But that wasn't the real twist. The real twist came the next afternoon. A woman came in holding the same balloon Brenda's daughter had, pink with little white stars. I braced myself. But she didn't look angry. She looked tired. "Hi," she said softly. "I'm Amanda. I used to be Brenda's neighbor." She glanced around. "She's been pulling stunts like this for years. She got banned from the pet groomer 2 blocks down. Tried to fake a slip and fall at the frozen yogurt shop on Claiborne. I just thought you should know." I was surprised. "Thanks, honestly." She nodded. But that's not why I came. She reached into her purse and pulled out a card. Plain white envelope. She slid it across the counter. It's from her daughter, the little one. I watched her the day after the cake thing because Brenda had an appointment. She was just ranting online. The kid made this for you. Said she was sorry. I took the card. Inside was a drawing. Another crayon piece. Me, her, and Louis. We were smiling. There was a giant pink cupcake in the middle. Below it, in crooked little kid handwriting, it said, "Sorry mommy was mean. Thank you for the cupcake." I liked it a lot. I stared at it too long. My throat went tight. Amanda said, "She's a good kid. Just caught in a bad mess." Then she looked over her shoulder, leaned in a little. "By the way, you didn't hear it from me, but Brenda might be in deeper trouble than you think." I raised an eyebrow. "She's got 4 complaints against her already at Consumer Affairs. Yours was number 5. They're investigating her now, not you." I blinked. "She told them we attacked her." "Yeah. And she told them the vet clinic kidnapped her dog last month. And that the preschool was teaching Satanism when they asked her to stop yelling at staff." I didn't know whether to laugh or sit down. "She's made a habit of dragging places through the mud when she doesn't get her way," Amanda said. "But people are starting to catch on." I nodded slowly. Then she smiled. "Anyway, thanks for the cupcake. You made a little girl feel seen." And just like that, she walked out. I stood there holding the crayon card, the second one in a week. The frosting incident, the complaint, the fake review, all of it buzzing in the back of my head like static. I looked over at Louis. He raised his eyebrows. "Well?" I told him what Amanda said. His jaw tightened, but he gave the faintest smirk. "Let her dig her own hole," he muttered. But I could see it in his eyes. He wasn't done. Not yet. The next few weeks passed in weird tension. Business actually went up after Louis posted the security footage. Locals came in just to support the little bakery that stood up to a bully. Some customers brought cookies just for us. Someone even sent flowers with a note that said, "Team Cupcake." But none of that stopped what was still going on behind the scenes. Brenda kept posting. First on Yelp. Then Google. Then Facebook. Then Nextdoor. She claimed we doctored the footage. Said we were running a scam bakery and blackmailing single moms. At first, we ignored it. But it started spreading again. The final straw? She made a YouTube video. I'm not joking. It was 5 minutes of her sitting in her car, makeup smeared, fake crying about how her daughter was humiliated and starving, and how a violent ex-Marine threatened to bash in her skull with a cane. Louis didn't even get mad that time. He just looked tired. "I'm done," he said one morning. "She wants war? She's getting it." He made a few calls. He didn't say what or to who. A few days later, something happened I'll never forget. It was a slow Thursday. Light rain outside. Just me, Louis, and one of our decorators in the back. The front door opened. It was Brenda. But this time, she wasn't stomping in. She was standing there, drenched. No sunglasses. Hair sticking to her face. The little girl was with her again, holding a plastic umbrella. They both looked off. Quiet. Brenda walked up to the counter. No rage. No yelling. She just stared at me. I felt my chest tighten. Louis walked out of the kitchen. The decorator peeked around the corner. The air shifted. "I want to talk," she said. Her voice cracked a little. I said nothing. Louis didn't move. She sighed. Like her whole body was deflating. "I got a letter," she said. "From the Office of Consumer Affairs. They're opening a case. Against me." She looked at me. "It wasn't just you," she whispered. "It's 5 places. They're compiling reports." I didn't think it was serious until they said I could be fined. Or charged. I didn't say anything. I wasn't ready to feel sorry for her. Then she looked down at her daughter. She cried when I said we couldn't come back here. Louis crossed his arms. "You're not banned," he said. "But you're not welcome to treat my staff like garbage." She nodded. I know. I was awful." Then came the weirdest thing I never expected from Brenda. She teared up. "I don't know why I do it. I get mad and it's like something takes over." And she motioned to her daughter. "She sees all of it. And I hate myself after. Every time." Her daughter leaned against her. Still holding that little umbrella. Still watching everything. I was trying to make her birthday big because her dad left the week before. I thought a cake would fix something. I don't know. Maybe it was never about the cake. The whole room went still. Even the decorator stopped clinking bowls in the back. Louis looked at her for a long time. "You broke our cake," he said, his voice low. "You tried to ruin our name. You called me violent. That sticks with people." She nodded. Her voice dropped. "I know. And I'm sorry. I really am." Then the little girl stepped forward. I drew you another picture, she said. She handed me a folded piece of paper from her coat. It was a cupcake again. This time with a smiley face. Underneath it, it said, "Thank you for being nice to me." That was it. I felt a weird mix of anger and sadness all at once. My eyes stung and I looked away. Brenda sniffed and said, "I don't expect you to forgive me. But I needed to say it. Before everything gets worse." Then she turned to her daughter. "Come on, baby." But Louis stepped forward. "Wait," he said. "Kid gets one free cupcake." For the drawing. Brenda looked stunned. "Really?" He raised an eyebrow. "You still owe me $48 for the lemon tart." She gave a short, shaky laugh. "Fair." The little girl picked out a vanilla cupcake with purple frosting. As they walked to the door, she turned and waved. "Bye." Brenda didn't look back. After they left, Louis sat down on the bench near the door and just shook his head. "You never know what kind of war people are dragging behind them," he muttered. I stood behind the counter, looking at the picture in my hand. The whole place felt quiet again. Like something had cracked open and then closed. The decorator finally spoke. "Did she really cry?" I nodded. "Did you believe her?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. "I believed the kid," I said. That night, I found myself holding the 3 pictures that little girl had drawn. One after another. Each one somehow brighter than the last. I don't know if Brenda will change. I don't know if she's just afraid of the consequences, or if she's finally realizing the damage she leaves behind. But I know this. That little girl deserved better than what she saw in our bakery that day. And if nothing else, I hope her mom tries, for her sake. We still don't give out free cakes. We still don't tolerate tantrums. But if that kid ever walks in again, she's getting a cupcake. No charge.